What would you do if the sustainable fuel source you use caused food prices and the cost of living to skyrocket in developing nations? Would you give up and revert back to the old dirty fuel source? Would you try to find a new method of transit, like biking or public transportation systems? Or would you simply hope that someone in a position with more influence could solve the problem without an impact on your day-to-day life? I am Wairimu Mwangi.
And I am Alyssa Fischer, and we are master's students in the Sustainable Engineering program here at Villanova. We are working to create a framework that can be used in conjunction with currently used environmental life cycle assessment techniques that will measure the social and economic impacts of projects. Our work will use scientific analysis techniques to assess a project's social, cultural, political, and economic impacts. However, to implement real sustainability, we believe that it is essential to assess projects using holistic whole systems analysis that includes the social, economic, and environmental impacts on all stakeholders over the entire lifespan of the project, from conception to end-of-life disposal. Our target audiences for this framework are businesses, government bodies, and educational institutions.
Earlier, we brought up the example of green fuels causing food shortages. You may have heard of this issue in the news or read about it on the internet. When investment in corn-based ethanol fuels was increased, many rejoiced. After all, corn is far more renewable than petroleum, and the emissions created were less harmful than those created by standard petroleum fuels. However, as a large fraction of the corn produced in our country went to fueling cars rather than feeding people, the demand for this corn skyrocketed, as did the price for corn-based products. This included the staple foods of many Latin American nations, such as corn tortillas. These costs may not matter to us as fuel consumers, but would eventually come back to us in various ways. For example, in food aid to those countries that could no longer feed themselves due to high prices of food.
If an economic and social framework, like the one we are creating, had been performed along with an environmental LCA of this fuel system, the industry may have been able to predict the unintended and indirect consequences of these actions. Sure, the environmental assessments seem to be nothing but positives, but those benefits need to be weighed against the potential harm that can be done in the social, cultural, and economic spheres. At Villanova, we have several projects exploring this concept right now. We are attempting to use this type of work to reach not only the corporate sector, but also scholars who are doing academic research on sustainability and environmental issues, and volunteers who travel to new and different cultures in an effort to bring them assistance in the form of healthcare, clean water, and power. Sustainability is not about taking one chemical out of a product and putting a green label on the bottle. To put it in economic terms, sustainability means living off the income of the earth and not its capital. We are working towards greater global sustainability.